This is my ranking of survival games that I've played, based purely on my personal experience. Each one is placed from masterpiece down to trash, depending on how intense the survival systems feel and how well crafting and resource management are balanced. Let's get straight into the list. Project Zomboid instantly made every small decision feel stressful because even a single bite could end an entire run. I liked how survival was not just about fighting zombies, but also about managing hunger, injuries, exhaustion, and even sickness from dead bodies near my base. The huge map, deep sandbox settings, and detailed crafting systems kept giving me new ways to play every time I returned. I also spent a lot of time building safe houses, gathering supplies, and trying to survive longer after every failed character. The mod support and constant updates made the game feel endless, and I never got tired of experimenting with different survival styles and settings. Even simple supply runs across town could suddenly turn disastrous once large zombie groups started surrounding streets. This easily stands tall in my masterpiece tier. Subnautica made exploration feel exciting and terrifying at the same time, because every dive into deeper waters felt unknown. I loved searching through strange underwater biomes, building new bases, and slowly unlocking submarines that let me travel farther beneath the ocean. The sound design added so much tension since distant creature noises constantly made me question what was hiding in the darkness around me. I also liked how the survival mechanics stayed important without becoming annoying, so gathering food, water, and resources always felt rewarding instead of repetitive. The story kept surprising me with interesting discoveries, abandoned locations, and mysterious creatures that made the world feel alive from beginning to end. Even after many hours, I still wanted to keep exploring every dangerous corner of the ocean. This belongs in my masterpiece tier. Rust felt unpredictable because I never knew if another player would help me, rob me, or instantly kill me for my loot. I liked starting with almost nothing and slowly building weapons, shelters, and better gear while trying to survive against both players and the environment. The huge servers created constant tension since even simple resource runs could suddenly turn into chaotic fights or raids. I also enjoyed exploring different areas of the island, finding valuable loot, and risking everything while entering dangerous radiation zones. The survival systems kept me busy gathering food, materials, and supplies, while base building gave me reasons to keep improving my defenses. Even though some grinding and combat frustrations annoyed me at times, the player interactions and unpredictable situations kept every session exciting and memorable. This game earns its place in my excellent tier. Enshrouded started a little slow for me, but the more I explored its world, the more I wanted to keep adventuring through it. I liked how it mixed survival mechanics, action, combat, crafting, and base building without making anything feel too complicated. The handcrafted world constantly rewarded exploration with hidden caves, dangerous shroud zones, and ruined locations filled with useful loot and enemies. I also spent a lot of time testing different weapons and skills, because changing builds was easy and gave combat more variety. The building system gave me huge freedom, so I kept improving my bases even after building a safe shelter. Some combat moments felt clunky, and inventory management became annoying during longer adventures, but the exploration and progression kept me invested. This easily earns a place in my excellent tier. Abiotic Factor felt different from most survival games because it mixed science fiction, crafting, exploration, and humor in a really fun way. I liked exploring the giant underground facility while slowly turning small offices and cafeterias into safe bases filled with strange inventions and useful machines. The survival mechanics stayed interesting since I had to manage hunger, sleep, injuries, and energy during long expeditions. I also enjoyed experimenting with weird weapons and gadgets because the crafting system constantly unlocked creative tools instead of simple survival gear. Exploring new sectors with friends was easily the best part since every area introduced dangerous enemies, strange dimensions, and unexpected situations that kept changing the experience. Even though combat sometimes felt clunky, the atmosphere and progression kept me invested without question. This game settles nicely into my great tier. Palworld surprised me with how fun and chaotic it became once I started exploring its huge world and collecting different pals. I liked building bases, crafting gear, and assigning my captured creatures to different jobs because it made progression feel active all the time. The mix of survival mechanics, creature collecting, and ridiculous combat created so many unexpected moments that kept every session entertaining. I also enjoyed exploring new biomes, fighting bosses, and unlocking flying mounts since traveling across the map became much more exciting later in the game. Some grinding for resources started getting repetitive, especially when crafting important materials, but the constant discoveries and funny situations kept me playing much longer than I expected. Playing with friends also made the world feel even more chaotic and enjoyable during larger fights and raids. This belongs in my great tier. The long dark made survival feel exhausting in the best way because every small decision could decide whether I stayed alive or froze to death. I liked searching abandoned houses for food, medicine, and supplies while constantly watching my hunger, exhaustion, thirst, and body temperature. The snowy wilderness looked beautiful, but it also felt dangerous once storms arrived or wolves started tracking me across the map. I also enjoyed how slow and realistic everything felt, since even making a fire or boiling water became important during longer journeys. Exploring different regions, surviving the weather, and planning each trip carefully made the experience immersive from beginning to end. Even though some mechanics were punishing and mistakes could cost hours of progress, the atmosphere and survival systems never stopped keeping me invested. This remains in my masterpiece tier. DayZ created some of the most tense survival moments I have ever experienced because every encounter with another player felt unpredictable. I liked starting with almost nothing and slowly searching towns, forests, and abandoned buildings for food, water, weapons, and medical supplies. The survival mechanics stayed brutal the entire time since sickness, hunger, injuries, and freezing weather could easily end a long run. I also enjoyed how quiet and lonely the world felt because the atmosphere constantly made me paranoid while traveling across huge empty areas at night. Player interactions were easily the strongest part, since some strangers helped me survive, while others immediately tried killing me for supplies without hesitation. Even though the game still had bugs and clunky systems at times, the tension and realism keep it sitting proudly in my excellent tier. Icarus gave me some really tense survival moments, because the weather and environment constantly punished every mistake I made. I liked starting with almost nothing and slowly building shelters, crafting tools, and preparing for dangerous missions across different regions of the planet. Storms felt especially intense since lightning, strong winds, and fires could completely destroy hours of progress if I ignored basic preparation. I also enjoyed unlocking better technology over time because the progression system kept giving me new equipment and building options to work toward. Exploring forests, snowy mountains, and deserts with friends made survival much more exciting during longer missions and dangerous encounters. The game definitely had frustrating technical problems, balance issues, and harsh penalties after death, but the survival gameplay still kept me invested through most of my time with it. This lands in my good tier. Grounded made a simple backyard feel like a massive, dangerous world because everything became huge once I started exploring as a tiny character. I liked gathering resources, crafting weapons, and building bases while constantly fighting spiders, ants, and other giant insects across different areas of the yard. The world design stayed creative the entire time since every location felt unique, from dangerous sandboxes to toxic gas zones and huge ponds filled with threats. I also enjoyed how the combat and progression slowly became deeper, because stronger enemies forced me to prepare better gear, study weaknesses, and upgrade my equipment carefully. Building large bases with friends and creating zipline systems across the map became surprisingly addictive after a while. This easily belongs in my excellent tier. Valheim quickly became addictive because every new journey across its world felt like a dangerous adventure waiting to happen. I liked gathering resources, building Viking settlements, crafting better gear, and preparing for long trips into forests, mountains, and dark dungeons filled with enemies. Sailing across the ocean became my favorite part since storms, giant creatures, and changing weather constantly made traveling feel tense and unpredictable. I also enjoyed how the survival system stayed important without becoming frustrating, especially the food and stamina mechanics that made preparation feel rewarding before every difficult fight. The boss battles pushed me to upgrade my equipment and explore further into dangerous regions, which kept progression exciting for a very long time. Even though the grinding occasionally slowed things down, the atmosphere and exploration easily placed this inside my masterpiece tier. No Man's Sky completely surprised me with how massive and immersive its universe felt once I started exploring different planets and star systems. I liked flying seamlessly from space down onto planets, building bases in strange locations, and constantly discovering unusual creatures, environments, and resources across the galaxy during every session. The amount of freedom kept me interested because I could spend hours upgrading ships, managing settlements, building huge freighters, or simply exploring random systems without following story quests at all. I also enjoyed how relaxing the experience could feel while traveling through space, collecting materials, and slowly improving my equipment over time across different worlds. Some progression systems felt too easy since the game handed out powerful rewards without enough challenge, but the exploration and scale still keep this game strongly inside my excellent tier. Conan Exiles made survival feel brutal right from the beginning because the world constantly tried to kill me through enemies, weather, and dangerous environments. I liked exploring deserts, ruins, caves, and snowy regions while slowly building stronger weapons, armor, and large fortified bases across the map. The building system became one of my favorite parts since creating huge settlements and defending them against attacks felt rewarding after long resource gathering sessions. I also enjoyed discovering hidden locations, dungeons, and strange lore scattered throughout the world because exploration always felt meaningful and dangerous. The survival mechanics added tension too, especially when preparing for extreme heat, freezing cold, or massive sandstorms during longer adventures. Combat and crafting sometimes became repetitive and frustrating, especially later in the game, but the atmosphere and exploration still keep this game firmly in my great tier. Soulmask kept me interested because it focused more on building and managing an entire tribe instead of controlling only one character the whole time. I liked recruiting different tribesmen, assigning them jobs around my base, and slowly creating a settlement that could handle farming, crafting, and resource gathering without constant manual work from me. The survival mechanics and progression system gave me plenty to work towards since stronger equipment, dangerous biomes, and difficult bosses kept pushing me into new areas across the world. I also enjoyed switching between different tribe members because their unique skills and strengths made exploration and combat feel more flexible during longer adventures. Bringing companions along made the world feel less lonely while helping during dangerous encounters and difficult fights. Even though some systems became repetitive later on, this still settles into my good tier. The Wild 8 had some interesting survival ideas, but a lot of the experience started feeling repetitive after spending more time with it. I liked exploring the snowy wilderness, gathering supplies, and trying to survive dangerous blizzards while searching for shelter and resources across the large map. The mystery elements and hidden locations also gave me reasons to keep exploring because I wanted to uncover what was happening in the strange frozen world. I also appreciated how death was handled since getting my items back, and continuing progression made the survival mechanics less frustrating than other games in the genre. Unfortunately, the combat became boring very quickly because most fights felt repetitive and lacked any real excitement or strategy. This settles into my mediocre tier. Ark Survival Ascended made every adventure feel dangerous because even simple exploration could suddenly turn into a fight against huge dinosaurs or deadly creatures. I liked slowly building shelters, unlocking stronger gear, and surviving long enough to tame dinosaurs that completely changed how I traveled across the world. The map looked beautiful while exploring forests, beaches, caves, rivers, and massive open areas filled with wildlife and hidden dangers everywhere. I also enjoyed how progression always gave me new goals, whether it was crafting better weapons, expanding my base, or finding stronger creatures to ride into battle. The survival systems felt harsh during the early hours, and gathering materials sometimes became repetitive during longer sessions. Even with technical problems and occasional crashes, the dinosaur survival gameplay still keeps this game inside my great tier. 7 Days to Die kept me hooked because the constant countdown toward every Blood Moon horde made survival feel stressful and exciting at the same time. I liked spending each day gathering resources, upgrading my base, crafting weapons, and preparing defenses before massive groups of zombies arrived at night. The crafting and building systems gave me plenty of freedom, since almost everything in the world could be broken down into useful materials for survival. I also enjoyed exploring abandoned towns, looting buildings, and searching for better gear while trying to avoid dangerous enemies across the map. Playing with friends made the experience even better because defending bases during horde nights became chaotic and memorable very quickly. Even though the game had technical issues, clunky combat, and rough visuals at times, the survival loop still keeps this inside my excellent tier. Dune Awakening made survival feel constantly dangerous because the planet itself was trying to kill me almost every minute I spent exploring Arrakis. I liked managing water, avoiding deadly sunlight, and traveling carefully across open sand while giant sandworms hunted anything moving for too long in the desert. The progression system kept me invested because every new vehicle, tool, and technology opened paths into more dangerous regions with stronger enemies and better resources. I enjoyed how closely the game followed the Dune universe, since the harsh environments and survival mechanics made the world feel immersive during long sessions. Exploring with friends, building temporary bases, and surviving sandstorms created some really memorable moments while traveling across the massive map. Even though the combat became repetitive and the endgame felt messy at times, the atmosphere and survival systems still place this in the great tier. Sons of the Forest constantly kept me nervous because the island felt dangerous even when nothing was actively attacking me at the moment. I liked exploring forests, caves, and abandoned locations while searching for supplies and trying to survive against terrifying cannibals and strange mutants hiding across the map. The enemy AI made encounters much more intense, since enemies sometimes watched me from a distance, set traps, or attacked unexpectedly from the trees at night. I also enjoyed building large bases because the improved construction system gave me far more freedom to create defensive shelters and detailed structures anywhere on the island. The changing seasons added variety too, especially during winter when survival became harder and resources felt more limited across different regions. I'd place this game in my excellent tier. Escape from Tarkov created some of the most intense and stressful survival moments I have ever experienced, because every raid felt like I could lose everything at any second. I liked slowly learning the maps, gathering valuable loot, upgrading my hideout, and surviving brutal firefights where a single bullet could instantly end a successful run without warning. The weapon customization and ammo systems added huge depth, since understanding equipment and preparation mattered just as much as aiming skill during difficult encounters against players and dangerous NPCs. I also enjoyed how rewarding extractions felt, because escaping alive after long raids always gave me a massive sense of relief afterward. The atmosphere stayed tense the entire time thanks to realistic sound design, dangerous enemies, and constant paranoia while moving through abandoned locations, searching for supplies and valuable gear. This belongs in my masterpiece tier. That's my ranking of the survival games I've played. Some kept me constantly stressed and fighting to survive every second, while others hooked me through exploration, crafting, and unforgettable worlds. Thanks for watching.